Thank you for watching this online presentation, Hiring an M&A Advisor for Valuing, Selling, or Acquiring an Independent Insurance Agency. If you're watching this, you're likely viewing it through our website, agencybrokerage.com. My name is Michael Mensch, and I'm a managing partner with the company. And I'm going to go through some different attributes that you should look for in an M&A advisor before hiring somebody to assist you with any of these services. So real briefly, the question is why people would hire an M&A advisor. Obviously, number one is if someone's looking to sell a company, they need representation. Second is if they're looking to acquire one or multiple insurance agencies, they might want to seek out somebody to handle that, finding those opportunities and helping them get the transactions completed. 3 is they're looking for a valuation of their company. 4 is if they're looking for assistance in due diligence evaluation. 5 is if they are needing capital to acquire a company. And 6 is if they need assistance in executing an internal sale of their company. So these are just a number of services that M&A advisors commonly perform. So much like with credit, I've broken it into a couple of different categories of different attributes for an M&A advisor. In the lending world, you've got the C's of credit. I couldn't come up with a clever acronym, but I broke them down into 5 different categories. First being experience, second being knowledge, third being credentials, fourth being processes, and the fifth being character. So I'm going to talk about each one of these ones in detail. Experience. How many engagements of similar services have they completed? If you're looking at evaluation or assisting you in a sale of your company or in assisting you in acquiring other agencies, so how many engagements have they actually completed? How many engagements failed to be completed and why? It's important to understand what the challenges were, what the issues were in that causing the transaction or engagement to fail. What kind of insurance agencies or brokerages were they working with? So there's a whole array from P&C to benefits, retail to wholesale, generalists to specialists. So what kind of clients did they work with? What was the ownership structure of that company? Meaning, was it one owner, multiple owners? Was it a sole proprietorship, C corporation? Because that can change the performance of the engagement. What kind of buyers did they work with? So if it was a sale of a company, were they working with individuals? Were they working with local agency buyers, regional and national brokerages, private equity, banks, all those things? And if it was an acquisition or sale, where did the money come from for the acquisition? So did they have experience in getting financing for the buyer or for whomever they were working with, and what kind of experience do they have? Number 2, knowledge. Does the advisor demonstrate a knowledge of your business, meaning your particular agency? Do they have knowledge of how your type of business operates? Are they familiar with the financial model? Do they understand how your business generates sales and maintains relationships? They understand the carriers that you work with and the types of products that you sell. Second bullet, do they understand your industry? If you're working in property and casualty or benefits, do they understand what's happening in those marketplaces? Do they have a basic knowledge of insurance in general? Third, do they understand the marketplace, and are they current with what's going on in the marketplace with regards to transaction values and where the demand is? Are they familiar with where money is able to be found for doing acquisitions? Do they know who the buyers are in the marketplace? Do they understand how the deals should be structured, how buyers want the deals structured? Fourth bullet point is the M&A process. There's a lot of consultants out there that come from the insurance world that are not trained in M&A transactions. So do they have credentials in that area? Do they understand marketing and tax and legal aspects of transacting a business sale? Do they have a successful track record in the M&A world? So these are 4 areas of knowledge that you should ask enough questions, kind of feel out whether or not the advisor is capable to assist you. Number 3, we talk about credentials and licensing. So if you're hiring them to help you acquire or sell a company, do they have transaction credentials? Most states, you have to either have a real estate or securities license to transact a business sale. Other certifications include the Certified Business Intermediary designation, Merger and Acquisition Master Intermediary designation, and the Certified Merger and Acquisition Advisor designation. Those are all professional credentials that require a certain number of course hours and a certain number of transactions to be completed. Do they have valuation credentials? I've listed 3 different types that you can have, but somebody who's doing business valuations should typically have some type of credentialing so that the valuation is in compliance with how the IRS needs it to be if they're going to be involved in reviewing the transaction for tax purposes. So you want to make sure that they have training in that area. And if you're talking about looking to raise capital, they have to be a securities broker. Investment banking, the investment banking terminology has to do with securities licensing, and one of the aspects of investment bankers, they can go out and raise money. And number 4, processes and resources. So do they have the contacts to assist you? Meaning if you're hiring them to sell your company, are they connected with the buyers in the marketplace? That usually happens by them doing a lot of transactions. They'll know contacts with local agencies, regional agencies, national brokers, private equity groups, all the different types of buyers that are out there. If you're hiring them to go and find agency owners to talk to about selling the agency to you, are they connected in the marketplace? Have they been marketing and communicating with agencies in that area for a period of time? Do they have financing connections that help you complete a transaction? And can they refer other professional advisors, that's tax advisors, different attorneys to handle M&A transactions? Can they provide those resources for you to help you, guide you through the process? Second bullet point, can they explain their processes? So the M&A process, if you've done it enough, it should be an organized process. So can the advisor tell you how they're going to bring your company to the marketplace? Can they explain how they value the company? Can they explain how the transaction is going to go forward and what they're going to do to manage the transaction for you, whatever the service may be? But ask enough questions to understand what you're getting yourself into beforehand and make sure that they have enough track record that they can explain all those things to you. Number 5, character and personality. So then it's about the individual that you're working with. Do you want to work with this person or company? Does the person exhibit the character traits of somebody that you want to represent you, interact with you and other parties regarding that service? Does the company have a good reputation? Will they represent you how you want your business to be represented? Meaning, you've spent a number of years building your company. You want it to be represented professionally and with integrity. So is that company representing those attributes to you? Do you think the individual you're going to work with has the personality for managing other personalities? So the individual who's managing a transaction, such as if you're selling your company, is going to need to communicate with the buyers, the finance companies, the due diligence parties, the lawyers. All these different parties are going to be involved, and they have to have a personality that can hold the deal together, get everybody on the same page with getting things done. And that is often a trait that's a little more difficult to determine in advance if somebody has that personality. Next bullet point, will they put your interest above their own? If somebody is pushing you to engage their services and they seem a little bit overzealous about it, you might want to consider, is this person going to always put your interest above their own? That's the definition of integrity. Is they're going to do the right thing all the time? So is this the type of person you want to work with? And last bullet point, what is their work ethic? If you're talking about valuing a company or helping sell the company, you got to be able to measure, is this person going to put in the effort and the expertise required to successfully navigate you through that process? Do they work hard? Do they produce quality product in regards to different reports and things like that? So these are just different questions that you should ask yourself as you're communicating with an advisor. Again, the goal is to do your own due diligence, make sure you're comfortable with working with that person or that company. So what you should be wary of: one, advisors that are fast talkers. Again, if they're trying to sign you up on an engagement before really understanding what it is you need help with, that's a sign that they are not likely going to put in their best effort and probably not fully going to give you the best advice. Number two, be wary if they do not have engagements with clients that they claim to represent. This is true in the marketplace, where people go to agency owners and say they have a buyer when in reality it's a bait and switch tactic. So if they're coming to you talking about a buyer they have, get more details. Tell them to send you the confidentiality agreement from that buyer. If they're coming to you with an agency for sale, make sure that they are actually working for the owner of that agency. Number three, be wary if they can't provide references, testimonials, or lists of completed transactions. So anybody that does a good job for a client can get a reference, get a testimonial, and if they don't have a list of completed transactions, it means they're not actively working that marketplace for those services. In some cases, confidentiality needs to be maintained, but in other cases, the information can be shared publicly. Beware of advisors that put no effort into understanding your business. Again, if their goal is to just sign you up, that should be a red flag. They should understand your business before engaging services with you. They should understand what your goal is and what you're trying to achieve. So typically when we engage a client, we have them fill out a form up front so we understand what it is they need. We understand a little bit more about their business. We'll go through a valuation if they want to sell their company, so we have a better understanding of their business. Number five, be wary if they can't provide you insight to what the marketplace is actually like in the process that you are hiring them for. So they should be able to turn around and educate you what this service is going to look like and what from start to finish, everything that's going to happen in that process. So make sure that they are sharing that information with you. And last thing, be wary if they have no professional training in mergers and acquisitions. Again, people can know your business well, but if they don't understand the M&A process, then they're going to stumble their way through it and not give you good advice on tax structures and legal aspects and things like that. So it requires a lot of training to actually be successful in the realm of mergers and acquisitions, and you want to make sure that whomever you're working with has that training. So summary of all these things, who you hire is critical in the final outcome of the engagement. So for whatever reason you're hiring that person, who you go with and who you work with, it's probably going to be a long process, maybe from a few months to many years. And you want to make sure that up front you're working with somebody that is going to help you yield a successful outcome and that you feel comfortable with. Hire an advisor or team that is experienced, knowledgeable, credited, licensed, connected, has processes, is personable, someone you can like to work with. And last one, hire somebody that is a trusted advisor that will add value and not be considered an extra expense. So we know that when we work with clients, we're adding real value to the transaction, and our cost of whatever service is generally less than the value that we create through the process. So that's the value of a trusted advisor. And now I'm going to give a little bit of information about our company. Obviously, the first part of this talk is just to give you some questions you should ask. Now we're going to talk about what we actually do. Okay, I'll be honest, it's kind of more of the sales pitch, but agency brokerage consultants, we're a merger and acquisition firm working in the insurance brokerage industry. We work for retail, wholesale agents, P&C, benefits side, work all across the country. We do valuation, exit planning. We do engagements to help people sell their agencies. We do engagements to help people in the industry go out and acquire agencies. Usually our buy-side clients are larger brokerages or private equity-backed parties. So, but these are three different buckets of services that we provide. Our knowledge, our credentials include the M&AMI, Merger and Acquisition Master Intermediary. All of our principals have that certification. There's only about 100 or 150 in the country. Certified Merger and Acquisition Advisor, that's comparable to the first one. Certified Business Intermediary, certified valuation analysts, certified appraisers, securities and real estate brokers. So we have all these credentials in place. As far as continual education, our advisors go to 1 or 2 annual conferences a year. They're learning about marketing practices and client engagements. We're learning about sales and negotiation strategies, business valuation and exit planning, accounting and legal aspects of M&A transactions, and just general brokerage practices and licensing requirements. So we're continually learning new things and keeping ourselves current with what's going on in the M&A world. Our experience, currently we are closing about 8 to 15 transactions per year. We're averaging 1 a month right now. Engaged in 15 to 25 valuations of retail and wholesale agencies. Our experience includes working with clients across the country. Right now we're working on transactions in about 9 different states. We work with solo practitioner agencies to large 100-plus employee and multi-state operations. Our clients have included property, casualty, life, health, retail, wholesale, MGA, generalists, and specialty agencies, full gambit of different types. We've worked with individual private agency, private equity-backed, and public brokerages and bank buyers. So we worked with a whole array of different buyers who are typically acquiring our clients' agencies. And on the financing end, we worked with pretty much every type of lender that is out there loaning money to people to complete acquisitions of insurance agencies. So this is our experience in-house here. I created this little chart to just kind of outline some of the value that we create. So if you are a buyer or seller, we find and screen prospects. So if you're a client that we're selling your agency, we find the buyers. We do that in an aggressive confidential marketing strategy. We screen them, we get them to sign confidentiality agreements, get financial information. If you're a buyer that we're working with, we contact agency owners and try to determine which ones have a serious interest in selling and try to get some information up front. We facilitate discussions, we perform a pre-due diligence. When we worked with clients that are selling their company, we do a due diligence in advance of going to market, and that adds a great deal of value not only to our client because it allows us to uncover any potential landmines that may happen and take care of those in advance. We've also got everything ready to go so that once the process is started, we move forward quickly to closing. And buyers like working with us too because we perform this pre-due diligence on any agency we represent. Therefore, the information has already been reviewed and they know that they're not going to uncover any secrets or anything like that through the due diligence. We assist with drafting and negotiating offers. We manage the due diligence and financing processes. So there's a lot of documentation required to complete a transaction, and we go through and keep that organized. We keep all the files in a secure online document storage place where different parties can access them. Number 4, we add credibility to the parties. What I mean by that is when you're representing yourself, you kind of have to sing your own praises, but when somebody else is involved, they can sing your praises for you. And we also, we're in the middle of the discussion, so we can help buffer the emotions that may come up during a transaction. We can help work out and resolve any issues through the transaction. So all these things kind of add up to the last bullet point, which is we generally can help make a deal happen where otherwise it may not have happened. And we like to consider our 3 core values being knowledge, service, and integrity. And I put in here some quotes from different clients that we've worked with and their advisors. A lot of this stuff is on our website, but the first one has to do with a serial buyer that we've worked with. Second one is a buyer for one of our clients' agencies that it was the first time they communicated with us. Third one is a senior loan officer from Oak Street Funding who's been involved in the M&A world for over 7 years, reviewing hundreds of transactions that came through them. These are 2 clients that we represent in the sale of their agencies. Jim Bond, owner of the James Bond Agency. Les Newman, president of Rainbow Insurance. Again, these are on our website as well. And then the first one was a client whose agency was acquired by a buyer we were working with. And then the second quote there is from the attorney of one of our clients. We helped navigate the whole sale process and worked closely with him and the buyer's attorney. The buyer in this case was a public company, so we worked closely with all the attorneys to get the transaction completed. And just a sample, again, these are all on our website, but here's some sample of different transactions we've worked on. Some were public companies, some were private equity companies, some were large regional brokers, some were local agencies, so kind of the whole span of different types of buyers. And that's it. So hopefully this information is helpful to you in whatever goals that you're trying to achieve. But please, if you have any questions, feel free to contact me. My email and phone number are right there. And again, I thank you and wish you all the best.